Good morning, Flossmas. It is Wednesday, December the 11th. We're on day 11. My tree is up. I found two proper decorations that were out because they'd come out of the storage locker in Lizzie's stuff. So they're both Lizzie's decorations. I haven't put all my baubles on it. I've put another few on, and there's Cosmo on the fence post outside, currently cleaning. We've let him go. We're just letting him do his thing from now on. If he wants to pull all his skin off, he can. He's actually looking like a fair cat at the moment, but he has got little raw bits. But that's just going to be Cosmo, and he's going to be right behind my head. There he is, having a little look in and a little clean. He is out today. The cat flap's open. He can come in if he wants. He's choosing to be outside right now, cleaning himself, having a little look-see, and he's probably going to scratch because that's what he does. Right, I just saw him behind there and thought, oh look, there's Cosmo. Right, as you can see, I am in my work uniform for the first time in 10 days. Not nervous about going back, but I know within like half an hour of being there, I'll be like, yeah, back to work. Yeah, know what I'm doing here. What is he up to? He's the funniest of cats. Yeah, he's a little bit raw above one of his eyes at the minute, which you can't see because there's a big snowflake in the way. So yeah, back to work today. I'm on 2:10. It is 10:08 in the morning, so plenty of time yet. I'll leave at 1. I was going to go and get my car this morning, but when Maddie finished a little trial, she had a little trial job yesterday to see if she wants to change her jobs. She'll find out about that. When she finished, Tuesday's her day to go to my parents, so she was like, oh, I'm going to look at the buses and see if I can get up to Grandma and Grandpa's, and I was like, tell you what, my car is ready. It's in the same village that my parents live in. So I was like, I'll drive you up in the courtesy car, pick up my car. Oh my gosh, my car feels better. Coming back down the motorway, I then looped into town, picked up Flora, and then who was milling around in town after 2 hours after school. Picked her up, and we came home. And yeah, the car was not struggling on the motorway. The car felt very nice, so very pleased to have got that all fixed. And hopefully, I said to the guy, he said, yeah, your oil filter was not very nice. He was like, I don't know if it's ever had an oil change. I was like, yeah, well, I don't get my cars serviced. And he looked at me like I'd fallen off a different planet, because I buy old cars. I don't get them serviced. They go through the MOT, which is like a whole set of things that gives it a fitness to drive every year. It's a legal requirement. And as long as it goes through its MOT, I'm happy. So I said to the guy, they did my exhaust under warranty because it had only been on 3 months. It should not have rotted through. I said to him, look, if it makes it through to March when my MOT is due, I said, if it makes it through without any more trouble to March, I'll maybe treat it to a service. So we'll see where we are in March and how things are. Anyway, so I got my car back last night and picked up Flora. So I lost a couple of hours there. But, you know, I was just kind of milling around going, yeah, don't want to do anything. I wasn't really settling to anything. So what I did after I filmed yesterday was stitch on a lot of the binding. I think I've still got 18 bags to stitch on, but they're the ones where the big roll of binding will do 3. You know, I've picked the colours out for 3 maybe. I've done all the individual 1s and 2s and things. So I've still got a pile to stitch on, but I have done a big pile. And last night and this morning I fully finished another, I've got 5 here, which I'll show you quickly. And what I've realised is that these are my Christmas present to myself, aren't they? My organisational thing. I think my planner and my bags, my Christmas present to myself. This one has got the koi carp and the nice inside there, and the 2 different types of binding, because I didn't quite have enough of the starry binding. These are old bindings from my bindings box that I've made previously when I first started making bags and decided bias binding was the way for me to go. I started making bindings, so there's sort of gold stars, and then it goes into like a mottly black for the bottom there. You can see where it joins back on. I decided this actually fitted from corner to corner, but actually doing the join on the corner is a little bit messy and faffy, so I just offset it. Again, it's for me. If I was making them to sell, I would always use the whole binding all the way around, which is why I've got little bits left over, which I'm using for me. So these are bags for me. Here's the other one from yesterday, I did the one with the nasty white jersey. This is the one that is the opposite. So it's the grey, and I've used the grey leaves. It's slightly the wrong colour, but it will do. It's the wrong tone grey, but I thought, yeah, that'll be lovely. So I've done that. And another batik. These will feature heavily in my bags. The batik with the purple binding, because I thought that just made it pop a bit. There's a little bit of purple in this batik. And of course the lining batik is quite purpley. Purple zip, mauve zip. And then I've got these two, which were from the same fat quarter pack, but because they're very directional, I couldn't make a matching bag, like inside outside bag, without you know, the lining of one being the outside of the other kind of thing. I couldn't do that without making lots of joins. So instead I used this coral colour, which is like synthetic that looks like Dupion silk. So I actually put the interfacing onto the lining here to stabilise it, rather than I usually iron the lining, the interfacing onto the outside fabric. In this case, I just put it on the lining to make that a bit more secure. So they had some old bias, very, very wide bias, and I trimmed it down a bit from before, but it was just the right tone. So there's those two. So I've made myself, so now I have this many finished bags, which is still not enough. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got 17 finished, so that's not even half. So I'm going to keep on with those. And I think that I suddenly thought, well, that's my Christmas present to myself, because I'm using up things I had. I've bought interfacing. Realistically, the only thing I've bought for that was a new bag of zips, which I've used about 5 out of the bag of 30, so they're ready for bags that I actually make and sell, you know, later in the year, whenever I get round to making bags to sell again. And Cosmo's still there, just checking. And interfacing. That's the only things I've bought for those. Everything, all the fabrics, everything I've already had in stash, so that's good. Right, stitchy wise, I did do a little bit. I did another day on the City Bank, which now looks like this. So in total it's had 1,045 stitches. So I've done all the bottom, this red, both colours. I've done one colour in the steps, and then that carried up. These are the columns to hold that, because it's like a big front with columns on it, and those are the doors. And then I've gone right to both sides with the snow. Now I was actually meant to start, according to my little list that I'd made, I was meant to start the one that sits this side of the cathedral today, but I think instead I'm going to start the one that's above the cathedral. So that one turns out to be the village bakery. So I'm going to put some stitches into this when I finish recording. And there's the village bakery, which is one from 2007. So this is an old one, but very nice. And I'm going to pop that one alongside the City Bank. So that's going to come this side. You can see my mistake on the counting there. That's where the edge is, and that's where I thought it was. That's the gap. So I've got to adjust them as I go along, but I'm doing that as I go. So I've actually got that one in there. So for 2 pins, I can just take out this. And this is how easy this filament pulls out. And it pulls out that easily through stitching as well. That's just the Gutermann filament that you get in the sewing machine, you know, where you've got all the sewing machine threads loaded onto the POS. We call them FDSUs at my work. You know, the manufactured prepared display stands, those things. But that's where I find this Gutermann filament. So yep, I'm ready to go with him, which is good. And I'm going to start the village bakery here once I finish recording. It works out really well because while my phone is processing the video into a format you know, because I do put some little bits of edits, while it sorts itself out, it really hates doing anything else. So while I'm processing a video, it'll upload just fine. It's just using its brain to think about the converting the video to from raw data, I suppose, into an actual finished video. That makes my phone really unhappy, and it won't run the program unless the program's open, as it were. So I need to use a paper pattern. So using my paper pattern then is very, very useful to me. So there we go. That's where I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to catch my edge here so I know exactly where to start. I think it's literally 2 stitches across, and then it'll be however many up from the top of the last one. And my St Nick Cathedral does go right the way to the top. I was wondering whether to start that a stitch or 2 lower. I think it is going to be sit a little bit higher than the others, but I think once it's all beaded and done, I don't think we'll notice the difference. Certainly not to the point where I'd want to take it all out and move it 1 stitch down. 10 stitches, yes, I had to move it. 1 stitch down, now I'm good. Right, so that's to carry on with later on. And then I've put in some stitches into Pandemic. So far I've put in 9 strands, which is a total of 898 stitches. So my length of strand is literally 100 stitches. I've lost a few because I backstitched this bug, this little fly. I had a look on the PDF because it was one of these. This is one as well. So I actually pulled the PDF and had a look to see what it was, and I backstitched him and then realised that this whole thing is very heavily backstitched. So decided there was absolutely no point me carrying on and doing all the backstitch there, because I'm going to have to do a lot of backstitch there anyway. I'm not too sure. Oh, that's in the printing in the fabric. This mark here, that's mottling in the fabric, which when I look at it like this doesn't look like anything, but when you're up close it looks like there's a blub. But you can see it's the mottling on the fabric. So I stitched, that's Cosmo John. Oh, Cosmo's on the roof now, and he's scratching on the roof. He's just jumped up onto the roof of the conservatory. Ugh. Right, so I stitched all of this little bug here, obviously. I came down here and then I went up here, and it connected perfectly to where it is, so its placement's okay. And then I went down that side, filled in this big motif a little bit, and then came across and did this reindeer, and then I've counted down here. So I think what I should probably do is come back to this motif and maybe try and get this motif in. But as I say, I've got another 6 strands to put in this, and then that leaves me around about 5,000 stitches for whip go. But if I put in 7 or 8 strands, that's fine too. If I put in another 2, it just leaves me more for whip go. But I'm gonna keep this in the Q snap for today. And tomorrow we'll see how many more days I can fancy stitching on it. But Pandemic for me is every now and again. It's not something I think I could stitch on every day like my treasure hunt bookshelf, but it's a once in a while kind of stitch for me. And when I do stitch on it, I love it and I like stitching on it, and I want to stitch on it more and more and more, but not to the point of that I could, you know, consistently work on it and finish it. It's going to be fits and starts. Okay, so I've just realised that these baubles that I bought, these ones are strung. So I bought these to go with the navy blue theme. These ones are strung. Some poor little Chinese child's probably had to sit there and string up 60,000 in an hour just for my consumerism. But these ones I can pop straight on, which is kind of cool. I'm going to pop some of them on my tree here and there. Yeah, so I've got a couple of hours now. I think it'll be about 2.5 hours when I finish my recording to go and do some stitching, maybe put a bit more binding on the, maybe do a little bit more binding. That one's been dipped in disco glitter. They're kind of cool. Right, here's the disco glitter. And that one's been pressed into a faceted sort of shape. Quite a nice little selection of baubles there for the worst plasticky baubles you'll ever come across in your life. So we'll do that. And I think all that's left to do today is to do the drawing for my thread bed, my little thread bed, which I still think is the cutest thing. I was so pleased with them. You know, when you make something and you're not too sure if it's going to be right, and you're not sure if it's going to be the right size, or, you know, and then when you finish them, you just think, wow, I love these. I absolutely love them. So I was super pleased with them. I do have some leftovers. I will do a few listings up on my eBay shop. My eBay, what's it called? Storefront on eBay? I don't even know what it's called. It's your eBay, isn't it? Anyway, I'll do the few listings of the few extras I have, which will be in there. Probably when the video goes live, I'll put the links in the description. So this little, I'm going to put this little thread bed, do the dip for that. So I will stop the video now and I'll do the screen record of me doing this, and we'll see. I like to leave it right up until I record, just in case somebody posts a comment sort of as I'm recording. I like you to be in the dip too, because I'm just pulling on all comments. So this little guy, I will be back in a moment and we'll see who's won that. Hang on. Right, that's all done. So I'm going to put that in front of my tree here, and the winner has come out. This little thread bed is Sally Ann Cole. So Sally Ann, if you want to message me either on Instagram or email me your postal address, and I will get this out to you. This lovely little number 10 thread bed. I think that's about it for today. Bit shorter today, not done quite so much, and very conscious of the fact that I'm tight on time now, because I'm going to go and have myself, I've got 2.5 hours before I leave for work, and I'll get pretty fidgety before I go to work, so I'll feel the need to probably go a bit early and faff about a bit. So I'll go and get this video sorted and posted, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.